stepping into your power, showing up as who you are. You've always had that permission. It was given to you by God. It was given to you by God, the universe, spirit, however, whatever higher power you subscribe to. It is your soul's birthright. You've always had it.
Yes.
And it is not your responsibility to explain that to other people. It is your responsibility in whatever capacity that speaks to you, whether it's community change within your family, or change within the world. It is your responsibility to step into that power and put it forth, not to make sure everybody understands it.
Welcome to the Serve, Love, Lift podcast. I'm Tiffany Garvin. Years ago on a quiet beach in Hawaii, I felt the weight of the pain and struggles we all face in this world and how much we need each other. Soon after, this movement was born to serve, love, and lift. I believe that we are meant to serve the world with our unique gifts, love ourselves and others, and lift each other up to live with joy. This podcast is here to help you heal your heart and your life and empower you on your path to becoming the best version of yourself. I invite you to listen carefully and jot down notes that come to mind, whether they come from me or from your own heart. Then, share this episode with 3 people who you feel could use it today. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get going. Welcome to the Serve, Love, Lift podcast. Today we have Brian Elam is that how you say your name, Elam?
It is. You got it.
Oh, good. Well, Brian is a coach for first-time life coaches who want to lead their businesses and change the world. Brian's journey into entrepreneurship coaching started with the launch and failure of his first business. That failure was just feedback, a catalyst to dive into what actually makes a business successful. After 5+ years of study and mentorships, Brian is on a mission to help 10 million people align their spirit with their business, lead their business, and change the world with his service, Dream Biz Coaching and Public Speaking. Welcome, Brian. What a great mission.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Even though I wrote it, it sounds better hearing somebody read it to me. It's like, wow, that really does sound great.
Definitely. You have so many good things going, and I love it. So tell me what it means for people to align their spirit with their business.
Oh, that is a great question. So one of the things that I found in my studies, my own journey, and actually talking with other coaches and entrepreneurs is that there is a real tendency out there to fall into the trap of what you should do, what everybody says you should do to grow your business or be successful, versus listening to your own voice, or what I call your own spirit. And so and again, I'm not a stranger to this. I've done it myself. You go down the path of, okay, well, so-and-so says that this method or this particular tactic worked for them, and they're making all of this money in the same space that I'm in. So I should probably do that too, right? I should probably enroll in their program. I should. And what ends up happening so often, and again, it happened to me too, is the mix and start doing the things. And then all of a sudden you stop. And why did you stop? Well, it's because these methodologies, these tactics, maybe even the people that are mentoring you in the first place, once you really get to know them, they don't align with who you are. It's just out of alignment between your spirit and your business. If it aligns with you and how you want to show up in your business, use it. If it doesn't, modify it or discard it completely. Because I'm not here to tell you how to run your business. I'm here to help you believe that you can. And it is through aligning your spirit with your business and everything that I've learned along the way.
Yes, I love that. So what happens if you are coaching someone and they are struggling to find that alignment? How do you help someone recognize what is true for their spirit so that they can discern some of these different strategies?
Well, one of the techniques that I'll use is basically I call it a gut check. So I'll have them outline what they're doing in their business, how they're currently showing up, what tactics, what strategies, methods, all of it. Just list them all out. And then I'll have them get very quiet, take some deep breaths, get back into the rest and digest mode of their nervous system. And then have them ask themselves the question, do I like this? And listen, not to anything around you, but listen to your body. Do you feel a twinge anywhere in your body? Just a minor, like anywhere, like in the chest, in the stomach, in the back of your neck, anything that on that gut check level you identify as a negative. If that is the case, if you feel that when it comes to that particular tactic or whatever the item is that you're asking the question on, notate it. Just write down. Be perfectly honest. And this is all about honesty. Just say, no. Do I like this? You get that gut check, that negative, icky feeling, you write down no. And that's where it starts. Honesty. And from there, we ask the question, okay, why don't I like this? And then you start listening to your subconscious, you start listening to your spirit, and it will tell you, why don't I like this? Well, because I have to cold DM a bunch of people that I don't know and they don't know me and that we don't like each other, and it feels bad. And I really don't like it, and I'm not doing it, so I'm not seeing the results from this program. And you just go on down the list. But again, it's all basically biofeedback and honesty with yourself. And from there, we can start healing and we can start aligning your spirit with your business.
Oh, that's so great. I love that key of bringing people back to their core of who they are, that intuition, right? We all have it, but it seems like this crazy world, this noisy, chaotic world causes us to struggle to hear that and to be able to discern what options are in front of us, because we don't know how to get quiet again and to really listen to that inner voice. So this is a great strategy of what you do there. I love that.
Oh, thank you. And yes, you're right. And that's a big problem with all the noise and being able to get quiet. I did a thought leadership talk recently, and that was part of my talk. Was basically one of the steps to align your spirit with your business is get quiet, and then the next one is forget everything you've been told about how you should run your business.
Yes.
You know, yeah, because should is not what you should focus on. You should focus on what aligns with you and how you want to show up in your business. And yes, there's a lot of noise. And with that noise, the other key point that I want to make is in this day and age, it's very hard to trust. But the person that it makes it hardest to trust is yourself. And that's what we've got to get back to.
Oh, I totally agree. There's more power in trusting our own voice and our own integrity and our own ability to take action when we can hear ourselves and when we know ourselves. So I love that that's what you focus on, because you're right. We can try a million other things, and if none of them are in alignment with who we are or what kind of business we want to move forward, we'll get stuck and we'll just bang our heads against the walls in frustration because we can't engage fully in that strategy because it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't resonate with who we are.
Right. And that strategy or method that you're thinking that you really want to do, again, at that spirit level, just because you don't see, quote unquote, everybody doing it, that doesn't mean that it's not right or that it won't work.
Yeah. Yeah. Or just the opposite. If you're following a guru or learning from someone, and they're so confident, right? They're totally sure, and this is the way you do it, and this is how you succeed. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, the conversation starts shifting in your head, doesn't it? Where it's like, well, if I can't make this work and I trust this person I'm learning from, there must be something wrong with me.
Yes, yes, that's exactly where it can go, and that leads to one of the questions that you had asked me, leading up to this is what's one thing that you would want to, or what other things would you really want to tell the world? And that leads right into this concept of don't chase other people's money. Just because that particular person, whoever they are, you might love them, you might trust them, you might consume all of their content and think they're great. And I'm sure that they are. I'm sure they're a wonderful person doing great things in the world. But just because they are using this particular way of doing it, that doesn't make it right for you. So just because they're making all this money, that's fine. That's great for them. But don't chase their money.
I love that. That's really good. And I think this is a principle that we can apply to dozens of areas of our lives. You see how there's a new diet fad popping up every few weeks, every few months, and people glom onto that because they're trying to find that answer from outside of themselves instead of, like you say, coming down into yourself and listening to that inner voice, that intuition, and knowing, okay, what is really going on? Why have I got this extra weight in the first place? Why can't I just exercise and eat right and do the things that we're supposed to do? And it's not working for me, right? I've helped people with that kind of scenario too. And it all comes back to what do you need? What's right for you? I had that experience, and my first impression that I got was you need to love people more. And I thought, oh, I thought I was doing a pretty good job. But, when we stop and listen, we do have uh, maybe some revolutionary ideas that come to us that are right for us, that will move us forward. And just like you said, it doesn't matter if nobody else has done that method before or tried that strategy before. If that's what you're getting, if that's what you're feeling inspired to do, then go for it.
Right. And just so there's no confusion, I'm not talking about a market or a particular type of market, or having a product that's been sold in another form. I'm talking about specific methods and tactics. So if you're a coach out there and you're looking to start in your business, it's always a smart idea to check, is this thing, this service that you want to offer, is it actively being bought in the marketplace? And if it is, great. You've got a niche, you've got something you can go forward with. But that is not necessarily talking about what we were talking about when it comes to the tactics and the strategies and things like that. You can pick any tactic and strategy as long as it aligns with you and your spirit. But in order to have a successful business, then we get into more practical stuff if it actually has to be being actively bought. So I just wanted to make that distinction so there wasn't any confusion in case any coaches or entrepreneurs are watching this particular episode.
Absolutely. I hope they are. And that's validation too, right? When you can see that what you want to sell is being actively purchased in the marketplace, you've got that validation and that foundation to build on, don't you?
Right. And it's a level, yeah. And you mentioned the word confidence earlier when talking about those gurus, and just having that confidence is a huge boon to your business, to yourself, and just going forward, especially, when it comes to sales as well. Like the person who is confident is going to be able to relay that confidence to the person who needs the help or the healing.
Absolutely. And I think the confidence is bolstered and strengthened the more you recognize consciously that you are acting in alignment with what's right for you, whatever strategy
Uh,
you're doing, whatever, right? It
a
just
hundred
builds it
percent.
and builds it. Because if you are trying to do something somebody else told you to do, but again, you find that there's that something inside that's like, oh, I don't know about that, but you don't know to question that and to listen to that, but you keep pushing forward, it's going to come across inauthentic, right? It's going to come across maybe salesy. Maybe that's a word that we put to it when we feel like somebody's not really in alignment with what their message really is. But when you have that everything in alignment, you are free. Like you can stand up taller and breathe more deeply and speak with more conviction when you know, no, this is right for me. And this is, I totally believe that what I'm doing is going to help somebody and bless their lives. So confidence is huge, but it's also a result of what you're saying, getting in alignment.
Absolutely right. And once I let go of those tactics, those should type of methods, and started leaning into my spirit and how I wanted to show up, you're everything you're saying, it completely resonates. You feel free. You can breathe deeper. You're happier. I've never been happier and more motivated in my online coaching entrepreneurial career than I am right now, because I have found that alignment. So it is so true.
Love that. Oh, I love it. So I was going to ask you what some guiding principles you live by and why, but I think you've kind of said them. It's that authenticity, it's that listening to your spirit. Is there anything else, any other principles that you live by there?
Well, this kind of goes along in line with that, but it's transparency and honesty. Another part of the problem, in my view, is with the coaching industry right now, especially with business coaches offering services to help other coaches, is this lack of transparency. So one of the things that can really help avoid all of the shoulds and is this right for me and all of that is to really understand, what is that coaching program about? What are you actually getting when you enroll? Like, give me a peek behind the curtain. Like, let me see, what are you about? Like, what do I actually have to do in order to be successful in this program? That way I can do that gut check before I hand you any money at all. Like, don't make me pay money just to see what's really there. Tell me and show me, and then if I decide to pay you to enroll, then we're all good to go. But so many people that I've networked with have gone into these programs and been out of alignment. And then all of a sudden, they're stuck with the bill, or then they have to fight to get their money back, or they don't feel right asking for their money back. And they try to slog through the program and get all the way through the 3 months and still don't get any results. But, they tried, but it didn't work, but they tried. So honesty and transparency in everything that you do, whether it's offering a program, how you want to show up in business, a speech that you give, it's so key. And the other thing that I try to live by is being of service. Because being of service to people, I feel it's what we're here to do. I interviewed somebody once, and she had this just amazing quote me. She said that we are all here to activate someone else. And that just hit so hard. It's like, wow, that you're right. You're 100% right. And so if you can be honest and be transparent, and also be of service, be here to lift someone else up, to activate them, those are just win-wins all the way around. And that is how I show up in my business and my life.
So perfect. That's why you're on this podcast, because you're totally in alignment with the serve, love, lift message, and the recognition that we're all serving with our unique gifts in order to lift each other up. Because you've been given these beautiful gifts, and you've developed them through your efforts into skills so that you can serve other people and help them learn from your challenges and your triumphs. And it's perfect. I love it. So who inspires you and why?
Well, that's a great question. And the first person that comes to mind is Gary Vee. And the reason he inspires me is because he is unapologetically himself. He shows up as him 100% of the time, and he basically brought the business world to him. And I love that. And it all goes back to, being in alignment with your spirit, your business, and just knowing yourself and who you are. And he, at the beginning of his career, when he started, talking about entrepreneurship and started speaking, there were times when he would show up and he wouldn't be allowed to speak because he he would use curse language, or he would not wear a suit on stage. And I totally resonate with that because I don't like dressing up. Like, if you see me in a suit, it's because either somebody's getting married or somebody's getting buried. Other than that, not happening. So I love Gary Vee, and I love the fact he stays true to himself all the time. And the other person that inspires me is Ed Milet. And Ed
Yes,
Milet, I love him. He has such a big heart and such empathy and insight. His insight is just incredible. And I hope to be as good a podcast host someday as he is.
that's amazing. He is fantastic. I saw an interview with him where it was Jamie Kern Lima actually turned the tables on him and interviewed him.
I saw that too. It was incredible.
It was beautiful. He
Yes.
really got in there and pulled out those yummy nuggets of pure, genuine authenticity that you could tell he was a little uncomfortable, but totally engaged and totally willing to bare his soul and bare his heart to make that impact that he was going for. And
Yeah.
beautiful thing.
Yeah, it was great. It was one of the best interviews I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah, it was beautiful. What's one of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome in your life?
One of the biggest challenges was to be okay with saying no
That's a big one.
for a lot of people. And I grew up as a people pleaser, wanting everyone who encountered me to like me. They didn't have to be my best friend, but I wanted everyone to be cool with me, to like me. And so, especially when I was younger, and I say younger, like even in my late 20s, I had a real problem with saying the word no to people. And it was to my detriment. It was terrible. There would be points where I would just completely shut down because I was overwhelmed, had too many things on my plate, and it would just all blow up in my face on occasion. And I would go through these cycles of saying yes to everything and then just crashing, yes to everything and crashing. And when I finally was able to stand up for myself and just say the word no, whew, so freeing, so freeing. So that's one of the biggest struggles that I've had.
So, how did you overcome that? Because I can tell, just because of your mission and your desire to serve, that probably made it even more complicated because you want to help people. You want to, not only do you want them to like you and all of that side of things, but your heart desiring to serve and to bless people's lives. And especially if somebody's asking for help or something, then you would likely even be more inclined to help. How do you process that? How did you manage that shift?
That goes back to that really goes back to your why. And your why and your mission, your why and your mission in business. And if the person asking for help, or if the event that's coming up, or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, if that thing or that ask from that person does not move your mission or your why forward, then you say no. And it's just as simple as that. And that's what made it easier for me to do. Is when I started stepping into who I am supposed to become and started doing the things, I realized very quickly that you can't sidetrack. You can't stay chasing the squirrels. Like, you have to stay on mission, stay on point. That doesn't mean that there's no time for anybody else or anything else in your life. But it really gives you a clear focus of, does this align with me? Does this move the needle forward? And if it doesn't, then you've got to do that again, that gut check. Okay, does this help me in my relationships with my family, with my spouse, does it help me with my job? If it does, then okay, then maybe you might want to think about saying yes to that thing. But if it doesn't do either of those two things, then it probably is a no.
I love that. And I think what you're doing for people who are listening to this is giving them another standard to measure things by, because it's not an uncommon ailment in society, this people pleasing and struggling to say no, and especially when there's so much going on with a lot of people feeling overwhelmed with the way the world is right now and trying to manage their homes and their finances, and everything's just a little bit crazier than it used to be. And being able to, again, check in with your gut, check in with your why, and be able to measure against those things. Okay, is this right for me? Is it okay for me to say no to this? And oh yeah, is somebody going to be mad at me because I'm not going to show up and help with this thing? And
Who cares?
right.
Honestly, and that right there is a great point, because that was something that I had to really struggle to get over too. The whole idea that not everybody is going to like you, or not everybody's going to like me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Gary V is not everybody's cup of tea. I am not everybody's cup of tea. And you know what? That's fine, because then I don't have to say no to those people who really don't like me anyway. I just be me and they don't like me, and I don't have to interact with them at all. And that's perfect.
Yeah.
So in this in this crazy time, the ability to say no, and it's not just no to other people and events and things, it's the ability to say no to, I'm not going to watch the news every single day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go on Facebook and fight with somebody, or Twitter and fight with somebody on some stupid concept that I can't control and have no connection with other than my opinion. It's the ability to say no, again, to things that don't move the needle and don't move you forward. And because I coach and interact with these life coaches who have these big views and big dreams and really truly want to change the world, be it just their community or ripple out farther to bigger, huger projects. This is the measuring stick, like you mentioned earlier. This is the metric. If it does not move that mission forward, and it does not help with your family, your relationships, or your 9 to 5, if you still have one, then it's probably a no. And that's okay.
Yes, yes, it is okay. And it's best, right? Sometimes we can choose things between good, better, and best. And if something's a good, it's like, if it's better, then maybe you take a little bit longer considering it. But if it's best, it lines up with those things, then all of a sudden the decision's easier and staying in alignment, right? As we talked about earlier, it's being authentic. It's finding that true self and that guiding light inside of you, that inner voice. That's what will help you make those decisions. That's what will help move your mission forward, your life forward, your relationships forward, is constantly just coming back to that center, coming back to that and checking in and making sure that you're moving forward in a way that is totally in alignment. Then you have more energy too, right?
Oh, for sure. The energy spike is incredible. Once you once you say no to something, and you know you're living in alignment, and you know that you're moving forward in a way that is just truly you, and you're showing up how you want to, and the energy is incredible. So anybody that is kind of doubting, should I do this? Should I say no to this thing? Or as soon as you have that gut check moment, you've decided it's not right, and you say no, whew, it's like the weight of the world's off you. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so good. So good. So what one thing do you want to tell the world?
That you've always had permission to be powerful. Now claim it.
Oh, I love that. So many people are struggling with that power issue where they feel powerless, period, or they feel like if they lean into their power, then they'll bowl somebody over. Right? How do you coach somebody through that?
Well, it goes back to the concept of not being right for everybody and everything. You know, it's like oh my gosh, I'm trying to come up with a good example. Um, oh, okay. Let's take smoking, for example. Say you've got a friend who smokes and they want to quit, but they can't or they haven't yet. And you have never smoked a day in your life, right? And you tell them, just quit, you know, just put the cigarette down, don't buy another pack, and just don't smoke anymore. Now, that person who is a smoker, anybody else who is a smoker or has quit, is going to look at you like you're a jerk and you're probably a little insane because you don't know their journey. You don't know their life, just like they don't know your journey completely and they don't know your life completely. The thing is, it is not your responsibility to make sure that someone fully understands your life and the decisions that you make. That is not your responsibility to make them okay with who you are. It is not your responsibility to do that. And so, stepping into your power, showing up as who you are, you've always had that permission. It was given to you by God. It was given to you by God, the universe, spirit, however, whatever higher power you subscribe to. It is your soul's birthright. You've always had it. And it
Yes.
is not your responsibility to explain that to other people. It is your responsibility in whatever capacity that speaks to you, whether it's community change, change within your family, or change within the world. It is your responsibility to step into that power and put it forth, not to make sure everybody understands it.
Yes, yes, yes. And isn't it true that once you really lean into your authentic self and you are motivated by your why and by everything that is true to you, that you become more magnetic and the people that do resonate with you will find their way to you. And those who are out of alignment will self-select out. And so
Yes,
being you really will bring into your life more of you, more of what you want, because you're projecting that alignment energy.
right, right. And now that alignment energy, it looks different for different people too. So, some people they're more reserved, some people are more extroverted. Again, you've got to find those particular methods, tactics, strategies, however you want to verbalize them. You've got to find those things that work for you and how you want to shine your light and be that magnet so you can attract people. I'm very passionate about this, as I'm sure you can tell. But just because I'm very passionate and speak out with passion, that doesn't mean that you have to be an extrovert for this to work. It just means you have to find your path. And again, making sure that you're not living your life trying to please others and explain to others why you are the way that you are. Just be. Just be.
I love this. Have you ever struggled with that, with not just the saying no, but the trying to express yourself and share your message and not finding that alignment and that struggle? Did you ever go through that?
100%. Yeah. And most of my struggle was, I think part of it was based on that I really didn't understand what my true calling and my true mission was at certain points. I always knew that I've had something to say. Like my entire life, I've always known that I've had something to say. And if I have come up against resistance from other people, other situations, or even just my own inner confusion about knowing what I'm supposed to say, I'll get this burning in my throat chakra because that's your voice. That's your expression right here. And I would get this burning sensation, just so hot right in here. And I didn't understand why it was happening. And it was because I didn't either know how to express myself and how I was supposed to show up, or I was being suppressed in some manner. So that was part of it. The other part of it, because we're very complex people and very complex creatures, the other part of it for me was fear. And it was the fear of being totally myself, like just laying it all out on the table. And one of and for me, it was my why. I was fearful of fully expressing my why. And the crazy thing that happened was when I actually did start talking about it and expressing it, people were they were celebrating it. They're like, yes, I agree. Like, this is amazing. I love hearing you speak about it. I want more of this. And it's just like, what was I in the first place?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Fear will paralyze us and totally shut us down when leaning into that fear. I love that you said that getting over that fear and just speaking your truth, just speaking your why and what was in your heart to share, it started working. Everything clicked into place.
Nobody gets through anything in life alone. This whole concept of the solopreneur or the lone wolf, and being successful in that capacity, it's a fallacy. It's not true. It's not how the world operates. It's not how humans were designed to operate. Even if you are an introvert, you still got to have some kind of a network, some kind of connection, people that think like you think. One of the things is, especially in the concept of marketing, I just got into reading Seth Godin, and one of his concepts in marketing is people like us do things like this. And that's all about finding your network, finding your tribe, people that vibe with you and can, even if they don't buy anything from you, they can still help you. They can still move you forward. Maybe they got a podcast you can be a guest on. Who knows?
Exactly. It works beautifully that way.
It does.
Well, is there any other message that you would like to leave the audience with that can help them feel encouraged, uplifted, and inspired today?
So yes, there is something that I would want to talk about briefly, and that's the 100 Coaches Project that I'm doing. So I'm interviewing 100 brand new life coaches to get the real story behind their challenges, their struggles, frustrations, or curiosities behind starting their own business. And it's because this is an underserved market. Even though there's plenty of other business coaches who want to sell you their programs, it's an underserved market in the capacity that I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to hear you, understand your experiences and your perspectives. And through that, you're going to help build something. Your input is going to help build something that will help millions of people. Again, it's my goal to help 10 million people be successful in their first business. Your input is going to help with that. And it's a huge project. It's a huge undertaking. And it's actually at this point just over 10% complete. So, which is amazing. And I'm super happy about that. But it's all about connection. It's all about growth. Now, you're probably going to get some free entrepreneurship coaching out of it because I just can't freaking help myself. I have to do it. But the thing is, like, it's not a sales call. It's completely about, again, it goes back to transparency, honesty, being upfront. It's not a sales call. It's a chance for you to be heard, be listened to, be understood, and help build something that's really going to help a lot of people. So that's the last thing that I would want to mention.
Wonderful. So how can people reach out to you? How can they connect with you and be a part of this 100, what is it called again?
The 100 Coaches Project.
100 Coaches Project. I love it. How can they connect with you?
The easiest thing to do would be to find me on Facebook. That's where I do the majority of my sharing. The majority of my work is through there, connecting with people. So yeah, it's facebook.com / Brian.P as in Paul .Elam.
Perfect. And I can put that link in the show notes as well. Thank you so much, Brian, for being our guest today. It was so nice to talk to you. I love your heart. I love
Oh,
this conversation of authenticity and the gut check. I love that. I hope people really add that to their toolbox, and as they move through the day, that they really do start listening to that inner voice and get that gut check and make sure that what they're doing each day is filling them up instead of draining them, moving them forward instead of holding them back.
well, thank you. I hope they use it as well. And again, it's so necessary. It's so necessary with all of this noise that's out there in the marketplace and in the world. Just taking a minute to breathe and coming back to you is the most important thing.
Thank you so much, Brian. Take care. Let's do this again soon.
I would love that. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Tiffany. It's been great.
Thank you for being with me. Remember to share this episode with 3 people who you feel could use it today. Don't want to wait for next week for new insights and wisdom? Go to www.tiffanygarvin.com/emotional healing for a free guide to help you begin healing the emotional wounds that are holding you back. Again, the link is tiffanygarvin.com/emotional healing. It will be in the show notes as well. I believe in you. See you next week.